Itham bhutanabhavosu Prithu sa bhagavatattamah Kirtitam tasya charitam Uttama charitasya te Maitreya continued. The greatest of all devotees, Maharaj Prithu, was very powerful and his character was liberal, magnificent and magnanimous. Thus I have described him to you as far as possible. In this verse, the word Bhagavatat, Bhagavat, Bhagavat, Bhagavatattamah is very significant. For the word Bhagavat is used especially to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the word Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is derived from the word Bhagavat. Sometimes, however, we see that the word Bhagavan is used for great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Narad Muni. This is the case with Prithu Maharaj, who is described here as the best of the Bhagavans or the best of the Lords. A person can be so addressed only if he is a great personality who exhibits extraordinary and uncommon features, or who attains the greatest goal after his disappearance, or who knows the difference between knowledge and ignorance. In other words, the word Bhagavan should not be used for ordinary persons. Srila Prabhupada explains which types of great personalities can be called as Bhagavan, the Lords. Commenting on how Prithu Maharaj is being called as the Lord of the Lords, Bhagavatattamah. Personalities who have exhibited extraordinary and uncommon features. Personalities, that is first. Second, personalities who attain an uncommon goal, phenomenal goal, like going back to Godhead, or some phenomenal great service in the mission of the Lord. And third, one who is very deeply rooted in the transcendental knowledge, one who can differentiate or discriminate between knowledge and nescience, or knowledge and ignorance. Thus the glories of Prithu Maharaj are described. Ya idam sumahat punyam Shraddhaya Vahita Pathet Shravayet Shunayatvapi Sapritho Padavimniyat. Any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prithu with faith and determination whether he reads or hears of them himself or helps others to hear of them is certain to attain the very planet which Prithu Maharaj attained. In other words, such a person also returns home to the Vaikuntha planets back to Godhead. In the execution of devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu is especially stressed. This means that bhakti or devotional service begins by hearing and chanting about Vishnu. When we speak of Vishnu, we also refer to that which relates to Vishnu. In the Shiva Puran, Lord Shiva recommends Vishnu worship to be the topmost worship, and that better than Vishnu worship is worship of the Vaishnava or anything that is related to Vishnu. The fact is explained herein that hearing and chanting about a Vaishnava is as good as hearing and chanting about Vishnu. For Maitreya has explained that anyone who hears about Prithu Maharaj with attention also attains the planet which Prithu Maharaj attained. There is no duality between Vishnu and Vaishnava, and this is called Advaya Jnana. A Vaishnava is as important as Vishnu, and therefore Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote in his Guru Ashtak, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastri Uktastatha Bhavyateva Sadvi Kintu Prabhunya Priyevitasya Vande Guru Shri Charanadavinda. The spiritual master is honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all the revealed scriptures and is followed by all the authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari. The Supreme Vaishnava is the spiritual master, and he is not different from the personality of Godhead. It is said that sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to chant the names of the gopis. Some of the Lord's students tried to advise him to chant the name of Krishna instead, but upon hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry with his students. The controversy on this subject reached a point that after this incident, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas because he was not taken very seriously in his Grihastha ashram. The point is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted the names of the gopis. Worship of the gopis or the devotees of the Lord is as good as devotional service rendered directly to the Lord. It is also stated by the Lord himself that devotional service to his devotees is better than service offered directly to him. Sometimes the Sahajiya class of devotees are interested only in Krishna's personal pastimes to the exclusion of the activities of the devotees. This type of devotee is not on a very high level. One who sees the devotee and the Lord on the same level has further progressed. Srila Prabhupada is quoting Shiva Puran that the topmost worship is the worship of Lord Vishnu. And better than that is the worship of the Lord's devotee, that is Vaishnavas, or anything related to the Lord, that is the Tadiya of the Lord. In fact, the devotees also are included in the Tadiya of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, Shravanam and Kirtanam about the glories of the devotees of the Lord is as purifying as the the Shravanam and Kirtanam about the glories of the Lord. Rather, it is more pleasing to the Supreme Lord. And then Prabhupada is citing the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was himself reciting the name of the gopis, and when his students pointing out and asked him to chant the names of Krishna instead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt very angry. Rather, he understood he was not being taken seriously. So therefore, and Prabhupada quotes that was the reason why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to establish himself by chanting the names and the holy glories of the devotees of the Lord is as powerful as chanting the names and holy glories of Krishna. So one who can only compile or understand or digest the glories of Krishna is more on the preliminary stages of devotional service. One who starts appreciating the glories of the devotees of the Lord, now the devotees of the Lord are not different from the Lord, being the Tadi of the Lord. Therefore, the glories of the Lord also in the glories of the devotees and the acharyas always include the glories of the Lord. So therefore, only the Lord, that's it is a preliminary stage. Further advanced is glories of the Lord and the devotees and the Lord's great devotees. That's further advanced. So in that again there are gradations. One who only appreciates the previous acharyas is a little more preliminary. One who appreciates the present acharyas also is a little more advanced. One who only appreciates the proper disciples, and ISKCON GBCs, so a little more advanced than one who only appreciates the previous acharyas. One who appreciates other senior devotees also. And he is more advanced. And one who appreciates and respects all sincere devotees, even one's equals, he is much more advanced. So, in fact, this is the transition, the upscale transition from Kanishta to Madhyama platform. And one who respects every living entity is Uttamadhikari. Like that. Obviously, Uttamadhikari is not blind or sentimental. He knows how to deal with whom. So he will respect every living entity, but he knows whom to glorify. He will glorify the glories of the service, devotional service. Wherever there is genuine exhibition of devotional service, that's what a devotee catches, basically. So you will see. So this is the upscale curve. Let's go forward. Takes 32. Brahmano Brahma Varshasvi Rajanyo Jagatipati Vaishya Patan Vitpati Syat Shudra Sattamatamya. If one hears of the characteristics of Prithu Maharaj and is a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with Brahmanical powers. If he is a Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world. If he is a Vaishya, he becomes a master of other Vaishyas and many animals. And if he is a Shudra, he becomes the topmost devotee. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that one should become a devotee regardless of one's condition. Whether one is without desire, akama, or with desire, sakama, or whether one desires liberation, moksha kama, he is advised to worship the Supreme Lord and execute devotional service unto him. By doing so, one attains all perfection in any field of life. The process of devotional service, especially hearing and chanting, is so powerful that it can bring a person to the perfectional state. In this verse, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are mentioned. But here it should be understood that the reference is to the Brahmana who is born in a Brahmanical family. The Kshatriya who is born in a Kshatriya family, the Vaishya who is born in a Vaishya family, and the Shudra who is born in a Shudra family. But whether one is a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, he can attain perfection simply by hearing and chanting. To take birth in the family of Brahmanas is not the ultimate finishing touch. One must have the power of a Brahmana, which is called Brahma Tejas. Similarly, taking birth in the royal family is not the all in all. One must possess the power to rule the world. Similarly, taking birth as a Vaishya is not all. One must possess hundreds of thousands of animals, especially cows, and rule over other Vaishyas as Nanda Maharaj did in Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya who possessed 900,000 cows and ruled over many cowherd men and boys. A person who is born in a Shudra family can become greater than a Brahmana simply by accepting devotional service and giving oral reception to the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. In this verse, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra mentioned in this verse are those which are by birth. And because they are by birth, therefore their position is incomplete. So they are in Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra families, probably because they had desired to be one such, and therefore they are born in that family. But that is incomplete. What makes it complete is the qualification. So they have a favorable opportunity to be a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But what is needed is the qualifications. And now Srila Prabhupada is bringing out the point that By hearing about the glories of Prithu Maharaj, one can attain that qualification, that substance. So this goes to prove that actually spiritual substance can provide for all the necessary material qualifications needed to serve the Lord. Therefore, the prime focus of a sadhaka should be the prime focus of a sadhaka should be to develop spiritual substance, because if that is there, then all other necessary qualifications which may be needed for any particular service when it is awarded to us will automatically come. Just like here it is said, a Brahman who is glorifying, hearing attentively the dedication of Prithu Maharaj. Such a Brahman can achieve Brahma Tejas, and a Kshatriya can achieve that valor, and a Vaishya can achieve his opulence in terms of so many animals and ruling. And a Shudra he can become a topmost devotee. Prabhupada is mentioned. So, yes, a Shudra may not require very specialized skills, material skills or qualifications. And therefore, a Shudra, that spiritual substance will help him become a great devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada is making the point that in this way, by becoming a great devotee of the Lord, a Shudra can become better than a Brahmana. This is not to say that a Brahmana cannot become a devotee of the Lord. I know. But it is only to say that yes, the position of being a devotee of the Lord is better than the material position of a Brahmana. So that means a devotee of the Lord reaches to a stratum which is much higher than a Brahmana. And a Brahmana can also reach to that stratum. And a Vaishya can also reach to that stratum. And sure enough, a Shudra can also reach to that stratum. That's the point which is being discussed here. So spiritual substance is the topmost thing which we should be hankering for, or which we should be working towards, working for in our lives. Trihi kritva idam akarnaya naranari yatha vadrata apraja suprajatamo nirdhano dhanavattama. It does not matter whether one is a man or a woman. Anyone who, with great respect, hears this narration of Maharaj Prithu will become the parent of many children if without children, and will become the richest if without money. Materialistic persons are very fond of money and great families, or who are very fond of money and great families. They worship the demigods who attain their desires, especially Goddess Durga, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Such materialistic persons are called Shriya Ishwarya Prajep Sabaha. Shri means beauty, Aishwarya means richness, Praja means children, Ipshava means desiring, as described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One has to worship various demigods for different types of benedictions. However, it is indicated that simply by hearing of the life and character of Maharaj Prithu, One can have both riches and children in enormous quantities. One simply has to read and understand the history of the life and activities of Prithu Maharaj. It is advised that one read them at least 3 times. Those who are materially afflicted will so benefit by hearing of the Supreme Lord and His devotees that they need not go to any demigod. The word Suprajatamaha, surrounded by many children, is very significant in this verse. For one may have many children but may not have any qualified children. Here, however, it is stated Suprajatamaha, that all children thus attained would be qualified in education, wealth, beauty and strength, everything complete. So this benediction is primarily meant for those who are too addicted to material benedictions, that they cannot understand anything beyond. So one should not take this Falashruti and read Prithu Maharaj section 3 times and then wonder, okay, what happened to my bank accounts? Why is there no positive transformation in the bank accounts? Uh, the point is, it is meant to encourage a person attached in the materialistic domain the Lord is giving much more to the devotees. The Lord is giving spiritual richness, transcendental richness. And yes, the Lord will give everyone many children through preaching. Through preaching. The point is that the more one becomes serious and attentive in devotional service, and the way to become serious and attentive in devotional service is to soak in the glories of the Lord and the great Acharyas. And the more one does that, the more auspiciousness will hail in one's life. Starting from material and then transcendental. अस्पष्ट कीर्ति सुयशा मूर्खो भवति पंडितः इदं स्वास्ति अयनं पुंसाम् अमांगल्य निवारणम. Also, one who hears this narration 3 times will become very reputable if he is not recognized in the society. And he will become a great scholar if he is illiterate. In other words, hearing of the narrations of Prithu Maharaj is so auspicious that it drives away all the bad luck. In the material world, everyone wants some profit, some adoration, some reputation by associating in different ways with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee. One can very easily become opulent in every respect. Even if one is not known or recognized by the society, he becomes very famous and important if he takes to devotional service and preaching. As far as education is concerned, one can become recognized in society as a great learned scholar simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, wherein the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees are described. This material world is full of dangers at every step, but a devotee has no fear because devotional service is so auspicious that it automatically counteracts all kinds of bad luck. Since hearing about Prithu Maharaj is one of the items of devotional service, Shravanam, naturally hearing about him brings all good fortune. Srila Prabhupada is explaining here that devotional service is so powerful and potent that it can cast off all bad luck. Coming in material world itself is bad luck. Material world is a place of bad luck. Real fortune arises in one's life when one starts moving towards transcendence. So here it is explained that one who is illiterate can get all knowledge. How does he get all knowledge? The knowledge is not just attained. So knowledge is not just attained by scholarship. Rather, the knowledge attained by scholarship is very superficial. The knowledge attained by scholarship, not superficial. Real knowledge is knowledge of realizations. Because it is directly digested knowledge, churned and digested. That knowledge is directly in the form of a vision, which can pierce through the haziness of the material affairs. And such a knowledge is easily done in a person who is sincerely practicing devotional service. Divya Gyan, Divya Prakashita. In this way, Krishna consciousness creates all auspiciousness or all pervading auspiciousness. And that's why one should embark on the limbs of devotional service with great enthusiasm. That's the point. Here there is so much emphasis being laid down to hearing the glories of Prithu Maharaj at least 3 times. So the point which is being highlighted here is that yes, devotional service, every limb of devotional service should be executed with great enthusiasm. And Maitreya Muni is also speaking. But simply by doing so, a person can develop all opulences also. In fact, one who glorifies Krishna, in turn, he becomes eternally glorified as well. That's the nature of the Supreme Lord. So one who surrenders to Krishna, in turn, Krishna makes him glorious as well. So that is the point. Like Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would always challenge Kulavicha Sridhar, and the Lord would tell, oh Sridhar, you are a very wealthy man. Now you are hiding this treasury from the whole world, but one day I will expose you to the entire world. And Sridhar would never understand what is being spoken by Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is telling, you are a very rich man, you have such great wealth and you are hiding your wealth. I am going to expose you one day to the whole world. And that the Lord did in Mahaprakash Leela. And the Lord called out for Sridhar. Devotees are not knowing who is Sridhar. He called out the name Kulavicha Sridhar. Devotees are not even knowing. Somehow they came to know. Somehow they found the Google coordinates. Somehow they located it and they brought him. And Mahaprabhu said the same thing. Mahaprabhu said, now is the time to expose you, Sridhar. And then the Lord exposed his great devotion and dedication. The Lord gave him mercy. Thus Sridhar became eternally glorified. That's Kulavicha Sridhar, because he surrendered to Krishna at all times, in all circumstances, and happily was executing Krishna consciousness despite material poverty. So he became a